Welcome back, Golly Vibes family. I pray everybody is doing good. Amen, amen. There was a debate that happened about 8 days ago, and it was Muslim women versus Christian women. An amazing debate. I watched it. Definitely loved it. It's some really wise Christian women here. I remember these two from like two other different debates. The one with the blue and the one with the white. Super intelligent sisters. Shout out to those sisters. Also know no, yeah. Shout out to those two sisters. Hey man, amazing debate. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. But there was a part in here that one of the sisters, the one with the blue, said was nowhere to be found. This video just popped up on my timeline last night, and I was watching it, and I was like, whoa, they didn't put that in there? And I don't remember them putting it in there, right? I'm going to let her explain it herself, though, exactly how she saw it to be explained. Check this out.
Christianity isn't a state of persecution. We're not persecuting entire countries for being Christians. We're not beheading people for being Muslim. The number one cause of Christian persecution today is Muslim terrorism, Muslim extremism. People are being beheaded in the Congo right now because of their Christianity. So why is that? And you cannot apply that to Christianity in the same way, because there is no state-governed terrorism by Christianity in any other place in the world.
You're not going to be able to find that clip anywhere else, because Islam attempted to censor and silence me when talking about Christian persecution, because supposedly that's Islamophobia. But I'm here to tell y'all, you can't censor the truth. The reality is the fruit of Islam is violence. And
isn't it crazy how she said it's Islamophobia? That's a word made up. Okay? Nobody's scared of Islam like that. Telling the truth about something shouldn't make you hateful. Okay? Christians are persecuted by Muslims. Thousands on thousands on thousands. Have you just seen what happened with Nigeria? You see what's going on in Congo? What you're not going to see is a Christian nation doing that to Muslims. You're not going to see it. I don't care where you're at. You're not going to see it. It doesn't exist in this modern age. It doesn't. Why? Because we follow Jesus Christ. Muslims follow Muhammad. Muhammad is somebody who went into many wars. Muhammad is somebody who had many wives. There's a difference with who we follow. Now, if somebody just claims to be a Christian and is acting out, doing stuff that doesn't even reflect Christ, they're not really a Christian. But different Muslims who do different things in different countries, they're reading their book. It's telling them to do these things.
it is terrorism, and I have every right to post this because it's my audio and my likeness in that video. Yeah, Islam does not want the world to know, to realize the severity of what their teachings do and how they embolden extremists. Not because the extremists are crazy, but because the Quran is crazy and it teaches it. Look at this report from Congress.gov where they are acknowledging that Christian persecution is prevalent in Muslim majority countries, whereas Open Doors World Watch List 2025 finds that more than 380 million Christians worldwide suffer high levels of persecution and discrimination for their faith, with many of those Christians facing persecution throughout many Muslim majority countries. Okay, this is the reality of an Islamic state. When an Islamic state moves in, the fruit of it is terrorism and violence against Christians. Not because they're insane, but because this is absolutely what they're taught to do. The report goes on to talk about churches being shut down, pastors being arrested in places like Libya and Nigeria and the Republic of the Congo. 70 Congolese people were kidnapped from their church earlier in 2025 and found decapitated, beheaded, okay? 40 more of them were found just a few weeks ago, or back in July, beheaded. And then I believe I just saw a report about 20 more of them in Mozambique. This is the reality of Islamic governed states. This is the reality of Sharia law, and this is the reality of what's trying to be instituted here in the West. And we all know that the first step to taking people's rights away is censorship. So me personally, I will not be censored.
Isn't it crazy how they want to silence Christians talking about the genocide of different Christians in different Islamic countries? Is that not off to you? It's off to me. That's crazy. Why would you want to do that? Why? Instead, as a Muslim, we should have more people coming out saying, yeah, I don't agree with those Muslims over there. I don't agree with what they're doing over there. Coming out publicly and saying these things. Like, we're completely against those people. We're completely against those extremists, as they like to call them. Extremists. But what really happened was those individuals used to be the minority. Then they became the majority and took over by the sword. It's wild, ladies and gentlemen. And to see this young lady say that was a clip that's nowhere else is even more mind-blowing. Trying to silence her, somebody who was speaking truth. Isn't it crazy? When you start speaking that talk, you start talking that talk, they're not ready to hear it. It becomes something else. Super wild. There's also a clip I want to show of an individual named Wes Huff talking about the Bible and the Quran when he got asked this question. Check out this clip.
I believe the Bible compare with the reliability of the Quran. Many Muslims say it's been perfectly preserved. Do they have these unnecessary details and the other things you're mentioning in your talk? If you can speak on that. Thank you.
Great question. For the sake of time, no. That's the short answer, right? I think what we see the Quran is very different in that, like I said, the Bible is 66 books written over a period of 1,600 years on 3 different continents by close to 40 different authors. The Quran is one book written in one time, 7th century, in one place, Arabia, in one language, Hijizi script Arabic. And so, in one sense, it's not really fair to compare the Quran and the Bible because we're comparing apples to orchards. There's just so much more going on with the Bible. But when we look at what the Quran, which comes 600 years after Jesus, communicates, what we see is that it's claiming to communicate facts about very similar people and situations that the Bible is, and yet makes a lot of errors and mistakes that scream lack of verisimilitude and credibility. It mixes up people and places in a way that just should be red flags for us. And ultimately, in chapter 4, verse 157, denies one of the most easily verifiable events of ancient history, which is the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. It says that they neither, talking about the Jews, they neither crucified him, nor did he die, but it was made to appear to them. And it has the Jews boasting, we killed Jesus, the Messiah, the son of Mary, which is a very strange thing to say. If the Jews believed that and thought he was the Messiah, they wouldn't have killed him. So it starts off with an error, and then it goes on to completely deny that this event ever happened. And that is a problem for the Quran, and one that has many Muslims that I sympathize painted into a corner and trying to defend it. Because even the most skeptical of scholars, individuals who say, despite all of the stuff we've talked about, we can't really have much reliability in the source information about who Jesus was, but we can know that he was crucified and died under the Roman governorship of Pontius Pilate. We can know that because of both what the Bible teaches and from sources outside of the Bible. And so the Quran denies that simple fact, and in doing so, denies the reality of an event that we have an incredible level of confidence to say that this event actually happened. And then, on top of that, the Quran, time and time again, talks about the previous scriptures that the Jews had. the Torah and the gospel. And it says that these were documents that were given in the same nature as the revelation of the Quran. They were given with guidance and light. They were, the Arabic word is natsal, sent down in the same way. That Moses was given the Torah and it was full of guidance and light, and Jesus was given the gospel and it was full of guidance and light. And then, in chapter 6 of the Quran, it says, "And let the people of the gospel judge by what they have therein, and if they do not judge by what Allah has revealed to them, then they are the defiantly disobedient." So it prefaces it by saying, God sent the Torah to Moses, he sent the gospel to Jesus, and the people of the gospel, Christians, Dan and I, need to judge by what Allah has given, what God has given to us as Christians, that being the gospel. And if we don't judge by using the gospel, then we are the defiantly disobedient. Here's the problem. When I do that, when I obey that, when I judge using the gospel, and I use that as the lens by which I look into the Quran, I find the Quran has no understanding of the communication of what the gospel facts are, historically or theologically. It denies its central precepts. And so if the Quran is true and it tells me as a Christian to judge by the gospel, then the Quran is false. And if the Quran is false, then the Quran is false. So the Quran has a dilemma. Because this is not just in...
And they call it the Muslim dilemma, the Islam dilemma. Because in their book, it tells them to look at the previous scriptures if they doubt anything. But when you do, it contradicts their book. That's why a lot of Muslims try to say that the Bible's been corrupted, which is completely false. Isn't it crazy? Nowhere in their book has it says the Bible been corrupted, though. If you truly believe what you're in and what your book says, you'd end up leaving Islam. Any Muslim would end up leaving Islam. If the Bible told us, right? Say the Quran came first and the Bible came. The Bible told us to judge what's in this book, or if we're not sure about something, go to the previous scriptures, and then it contradicts the previous scriptures, I would automatically think to myself, oh, this must be off. Something's off about this. I wouldn't automatically think to myself, oh, that book must be corrupt, because the book that's telling me to go to that book to be assured of different things is not lining up with this book, the second book, the book that came after. It's foolishness. It's downright foolishness. So many people worship their religion instead of actually worshiping God. They love their culture. They love their religion. They love different things that go on within their communities other than God, other than truth. It's sickening. May the Lord intervene. Amen. My Lord. Definitely sickening. But to all you guys who may have woke up from that place, that religion, or different religions, and you're with the Lord now, amen. Amen. You are truly in light, truly walking in truth. May the Lord continue to lead you. Amen. Those who come to agreement, put amen in the comments. God bless. Shalom.